Welcome to another episode of My Awesome Podcast. I am Salim, and this is Mike. We have a lot to get to, so let's get into it.
Let's start out with a video I've got here.
These are the most controversial TV shows of all time. So Hail Honey, I'm Home was a British sitcom that features Adolf Hitler and Eva Braun chronicling their love-hate relationship with their Jewish neighbors. Yes, that's real.
Wow.
Who's Your Daddy was a reality show with the premise being former adoptees had to find their biological father among a host of imposters.
What?
If they guess correctly, they get $100,000 and the father returns. If not, the fake daddy gets the money. The Swan was a show that took self-proclaimed ugly people and performed a 3-month extreme makeover using plastic surgery and therapists. This led to a lot of body dysmorphia, though perhaps not as bad as Are You Hot, which features a celebrity judge panel critiquing and evaluating contestants based on their physical appearance, even bringing out laser pointers to point out undesired hair and beauty marks. Boy Meets Boy was basically the gay version of The Bachelor, but the surprise being that half of the contestants were actually straight, which the leading man had no idea. And finally, Kid Nation was a show that took 40 kids and had them create their own functioning town in 40 days, which led to a lot of crazy moments.
Okay. So it starts out with a show about Hitler and Eva Braun,
Yeah.
which is bad by itself. But when do you think the show was out? Like what year did you think it was playing?
Well, I don't know. Probably in the 60s.
1990.
What?
Yeah. And it was in the UK. And they thought this would be a funny premise.
Oh my God.
And the next door neighbor was Jewish, a Jewish family. And I'm just thinking, what are you doing?
Yeah, seriously.
What are you doing? Oh.
Yeah, I don't know whose idea that was, but
And then that other show, The Swan, I remember when that was out.
Yeah.
And I just remember thinking, again, what are you doing?
yeah,
You bring in a bunch of people, you effectively call them ugly,
for sure.
and then you offer them plastic surgery. Is that something we want to be promoting as a society?
Man, I do remember watching that show too, and I don't know how long it was on the air, but I remember that was pretty popular.
It was pretty messed up. So I guess the first thing I wanted to talk about was controversial TV shows.
Yeah.
I can think of a couple, and these are shows I actually like, but they tick people off.
Okay.
Like first one, South Park.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Okay, the very first South Park out, besides I know there's like shorts and stuff, and people are going to say, oh, what about Frosty versus Santa or Jesus versus Santa on... Okay, the very first episode out was Cartman gets an anal probe.
Yeah.
And I just remember watching that thinking, oh my God, they're taking this to a whole new level.
Yeah.
And there's one part where Cartman is standing in a field and there is an 80-foot satellite dish hanging out of his butt.
Yeah, it seems so ridiculous, but yeah, and it's just gotten like edgier and riskier along the way.
Yeah, I'll say now they tend to do more current events. Now, they've done current events for a very long time. There was that documentary called 6 Days to Air, where they basically show the reason why South Park, a cartoon, is current. Because they can take the news and 6 days later, they're on the air with their new episode.
Yeah.
But now they're owned by HBO. They can say and do much more things. Or I shouldn't say they're owned by HBO. They're on HBO. Or maybe are they on Paramount Plus now?
Oh yeah, they are on. Yeah, they are.
But are they all? They're also on Max, though, aren't they? HBO Max.
Yeah, they are on Max. Yep.
Okay. Either way,
Yeah.
my point is now it doesn't even seem like they're doing normal episodes. They're doing like mini movies. Have you seen the newest one, the Panderverse?
No.
Where basically all of these people that are claiming that everything must be woke is actually another reality which Cartman slips into, where everything is being pandered to the woke media.
Well, don't give away any spoilers.
It's good. All I'm saying is that it's definitely ticking some people off.
Yeah.
But can you think of any controversial TV shows?
Let me see. So I have watched a good amount of TV. Does shows like Fear Factor, does that count? Because that like pops into my head first. You know, that's
I mean, is that controversial though?
Oh,
Making
yeah.
people eat bugs and
Yeah,
stuff?
yeah, I would think so because you would think like, you know, there was some pretty crazy stuff on there, like having to eat like goat testicles and things like that. Like, you know, there was
I
some
don't know. I
pretty,
kind of feel like that's just gross.
Yeah.
But I see where you're going. I see where
Yeah.
you're going.
or like Jerry Springer.
Jerry Springer, that one's a good one.
Yeah, yeah,
That one's a good one.
yeah,
Because, and he wasn't even the one that really started a lot of it,
yeah,
but I definitely think he perfected a lot of
yeah,
it. I mean, there were all of these other, you know, what we call them daytime talk shows that had done other things
yeah, yeah. They weren't
and
as
come
crazy.
before him. But
Yeah.
Jerry's was just
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah, yeah. Because he had like just different things where you know people are like, you know, I don't even know, just crazy relationship stories and you know crazy cheating stories, all that type of stuff.
Yeah, yeah. And then, but then who was the other one? Was it Maury Povich?
yeah, yeah,
the
yeah.
one that would be like, "You are not
Yeah,
the father." Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So that was getting up there.
Okay, how about Jackass?
Oh, for sure. Yeah,
I remember when that came out. There was almost like hysteria about, you know, are you just teaching kids to do stupid things? Don't do that.
Yeah, and I could see part of that. You know, I'm not usually somebody who's like, you know, TV's bad for kids' brains or whatever, but like I could see like kids wanting to be like, hey, I saw this on Jackass. Let's try to hit
Right.
you in the head with the cinder block.
Well, and I just feel like, you know, I know I'm going to get roasted in the comments for this because I'm not a parent, but parent. Like,
yeah,
I remember when Beavis and Butthead came out, which is another controversial
true,
one.
yeah.
And all of these people were flipping out. They're like, you put a cartoon out for children that's not for children. And I'm
Yeah.
like, it's not for children.
yeah,
Like, your 10-year-old should not be watching Beavis
Yeah.
and Butthead, and your 10-year-old should not be watching Jackass.
yeah. And I think that's part of the problem is that there's a lot of adult animation now.
Yeah.
You know, and it's definitely not for kids, but because people think that because it's animated, you know,
Right.
kids should have rights to it.
Right. I don't think South Park is for
Yeah,
kids. If
yeah.
I had kids, I
Oh,
would,
yeah.
they would be teenagers before I let them watch that kind of stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, like at least a 13-year-old or something you can sit down and talk to and be like, hey,
yeah, which I mean, maybe some of those concepts are, you know, still over a 13-year-old's head, but
sure. But I definitely wouldn't let like an 8-year-old
Yeah.
watch Jackass.
yeah, yes, yeah, yeah.
Where they're like, hey, I want to jump off the roof. No.
Yeah, I don't know. Think about it. There have been a good amount of controversial TV shows, but I guess it becomes kind of a slippery slope because there's probably elements of shows that are controversial and not the whole show. You know what I mean?
Well, what about shows that weren't even controversial for, how do I say this? Like their topics, but controversial in the way that it was ran. Like, what about the show 24?
Okay.
There were 24 shows in a season, and they each represented 1 hour
Yeah.
within a 24-hour period that they were, but you got to see things from like different angles.
Yeah.
Like you knew that these people were doing this at this time, and then you found out later on across town this other stuff was happening at the
Yeah,
exact same
yeah,
time. It felt like you're watching a show in real time.
Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty good. You know, I never watched that show very much. I mean,
Yeah, I wasn't a big fan either.
yeah. But and I think at the beginning of the show I didn't realize that's what it was about until, you know, maybe like halfway through the season or something when someone explained that to me but either way, yeah, it's a very cool idea to do a show.
Right.
So,
Now, a show that I kind of felt like maybe wasn't for kids, but also was written in a way that was very relatable to kids. I don't necessarily think it was that appropriate, but I did watch as a child. Ren and Stimpy.
yeah. Yeah.
Because there was always like talking about farts and flinging their boogers and all this other stuff.
Yeah.
And there was just like a lot of like adult style gross humor, but it was done in a very childish way.
Yeah. You know, I always wondered, you know, when people come up with these shows that are supposedly for kids, like, but they have adult humor kind of in it. I don't know. I always had questioned those, you know, like, because I'm sure it's a whole board of people who like this gets pitched to, when they have to approve it and everything. It's not just one person,
Right.
making all those decisions, because you have movies like that now that have like, a little hint of an adult joke in there or something, and parents are like, I can't believe that was in there.
Yeah. Yeah.
My kid doesn't understand, but so, but yeah, Ren and Stimpy was pretty, that was pretty controversial. I could see that.
Or another thing I used to watch in the 90s was Liquid Television. Did you ever
Oh
watch
yeah.
that?
Yep.
Because my favorite part of that
I
was
bet I know.
what?
It was Eon Flux.
It was Eon Flux. And do you remember that at the end of every short story, she died?
Yeah.
And it was always in a really
Yeah.
screwed up way.
Yeah.
And so I'm just watching her die over and over and over again. And
yeah.
I'm like, this cartoon is insane.
Yeah. Wasn't like Oddities, or maybe that, I don't know. I'm thinking of something else. Never mind. But I feel like Oddities on MTV was like the whole Liquid Television thing. Wasn't that part of that?
I don't remember everything else on Liquid Television. I just remember Eon Flux was.
Yeah. 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 Somebody have to Google that and give us some feedback on that.
Yeah, definitely.
The thing I wanted to talk about in this new segment, I guess, that I like to call things that happening in Michigan. So my first thing, I think I have a video for you to pull up. This is a little bit sports related. I know you're not too much of a like sports buff for like basketball, football, but this will be entertaining for you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Pistons have lost 25 straight games. The all-time record is 26. Their last win was October 28th against the Bulls in the third game of the year. So if the Pistons lose to the Nets in Brooklyn on Friday, they will both tie the record for longest losing streak in the NBA history. And also, they will have gone from before Halloween to after Christmas without winning a single basketball game.
That's crazy.
Okay. So I know you don't watch much sports at all.
Sure.
Okay. But from our great state of Michigan, and I do love living here, and I'm not trying to, talk bad about our state or whatever, but the Detroit Pistons, like they said in that video, have set the record for consecutive games lost in a single season. So what was that, 26 games that they mentioned there? I think as we're recording this, it might be at 27. But yeah, a really tough thing to swallow for Detroit Pistons fans, because going to the games, it's not like they're getting blown out in these games either. They had a game where they just played the Celtics and they were up by about 19 points at halftime, and they lost the game by 6 points. So, really tough loss. I know Detroit Pistons fans are angry, but hopefully it comes to an end.
I mean, we discussed it before that I'm more of a motorsports kind of guy.
Yeah, okay.
And I just don't follow this at all. So let me ask this then. Is the Detroit Pistons generally a good team?
Yeah, I mean,
I understand they're from Michigan and I should be rooting for the home
Yeah,
team,
yeah.
but I'm just saying, are they normally somebody who's
well, the
winning
last
all
couple
the
of
time?
years have been a struggle
Okay.
for the Pistons. They're not traditionally a terrible team. They've had some good seasons. They have won some championships. So usually a contender, maybe a team that goes to the playoffs usually. But like I said, the last couple of years, it's been a little bit of a struggle. But this time it was supposed to be kind of a turnaround. The last couple of years of NBA drafts for the Pistons, it's kind of like a rebuilding. Kind of getting a younger group of guys to kind of make a good push for the playoffs, but it doesn't look like it's happening this year at all.
Is this, they said they were almost breaking a record. So
Yeah.
this is definitely the worst year that they've had for a very long time.
Yes, yeah, for a long time. So
Okay.
yeah, so there's been other teams like I don't know what year it was, but I know the Philadelphia 76ers also had a long losing streak, but it was like between seasons. So it was like, I think it was like 26 or 27 games also, but it wasn't in a single season. It was like between one year and the next where their losing streak went that much. but this one is in a single season. So like in that video said, so before Halloween and after Christmas, they have not won a game, which is insane when you think about it. Because maybe like at least 12 to 15 games is in a month. Which, I don't know, just rough. But on a better note, the Detroit Lions are in the NFL playoffs. They're doing very well this season.
Oh, okay.
So that's
good.
Yeah, yeah.
Your new segment of This Is What's Happening in Michigan,
Yeah.
I hope will always, how about we start a tradition?
Yeah.
You always end on a positive.
Okay, you got it.
Okay, so even if you got something bad to say,
Yeah.
just throw in a little goodness at the end.
All right, sounds good.
Okay, so the thing I wanted to talk about, and we've talked about this a little bit off camera, is Space Force.
Okay.
It feels like when Space Force first became a thing, it was something that Donald Trump had created.
Mm-hmm.
It's not that there weren't agencies there. The Air Force took care of a lot of things, but as we move forward, I guess, and technology gets better and space gets easier to access and there's more things up there. I don't disagree with the fact that we should have more of a focus on what's going on. I mean, if you think about it, the way the Air Force started was originally there were just airplanes in the Army, and it was called the Air Corps inside the Army. And so then at a certain point, there were so much to do with airplanes and all of that. They branched off into their own department. So
Okay.
my question is what exactly does the Space Force do?
Yeah.
Because I feel like I ask people that, or they'll ask me that, because I'm kind of a space nerd. I watch all the space stuff.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm very interested and excited about it.
Yeah. Well, that's interesting that you don't know because I thought it was a joke. I didn't realize this was a serious thing.
Well, no, it's not. I know some of what they do.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of what they do is classified, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But it's weird because I feel like it got some hate because Trump had created it, I guess. I don't know. Trump's got a very divisive president, and some people just don't like anything that he does.
Yeah. Yeah.
I thought, well, isn't this just like what they did with the Air Force? It was going along, as the Air Corps, and then at a certain point, they were like, hey, we need to split this off. It needs more attention. It needs to be its own thing.
Okay.
And so then the Air Force was taking care of space, and then at some point, they were like, you know what? We need to spin this off and have its own thing so that we can give it the attention that it needs. So there is several things that I do know that they do. Number one, they track everything that's in space.
Okay.
First of all, we have humans in space. Other countries have humans in space. Just for a safety thing, we need to know where everything is going and moving so that things can move out of the way of each other so they don't hit each other.
Right.
Because that could cause a huge problem. The other piece is we don't know if another country is going to do something.
Oh, out in space.
Yeah. And so it's good to have our military paying attention to it. What's going on? What's doing what? We've had other countries' satellites, and I don't remember what year this was in. I don't think it was that many years ago, where they were talking about how another country's satellite had moved next to one of our spy satellites, and it had done some things. Like it opened up and a thing came out of it. And they basically, through diplomatic means, were like, whatever you're doing, stop doing it. And then they stopped doing it. But you need people watching.
Yeah.
But beyond the fact that, it's almost like a joke to go, what are they doing? They also have some other kind of odd things. So I put it up here on the screen. This is their website, which I'm not making fun of this.
Okay.
I think this is great. And I'm not making fun of them at all either, our servicemen and women. But my deal is that the way this just came about, I don't know, there's some weird questions. Okay, first of all, this is their logo right here. And this is the Starfleet Academy logo. And the BBC is making a good point here.
Yeah.
They're very, very similar. There is this part in the middle. There's also the triangle thing. The stars are on the outside. I mean, there's a lot of coincidences here, right?
Yes, there are two. Yeah, that's a lot.
And this one, I can kind of dismiss some of it with like, oh, well, there's the planet and there's star isn't in the inside. They call this part the delta, and here is a better shot of it, an updated version.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, now there is a star in the middle.
Okay.
And I'm just like,
Okay, so
what are we doing?
So who's in charge of this design?
I don't know. I think this is a serious group of our military that is there for obvious or there for real reasons. I don't think what they do is something to laugh at. I think that they're doing a very important job, but a lot of it is kind of shrouded in mystery. But when your logo mimics sci-fi, it feels a little like, are we getting trolled?
Yeah, it sure does. Yeah. And sorry, I was like trying to read some of that because for a minute I thought that said like Space Force was first designed in 1961. So I was just like staring at that for a second and not the symbol, not the Delta symbol. I was like, wait a minute. This is gotta be a joke. Okay.
Well, and I should say right across the top it says Semper Supra, which is Latin for always above.
Yeah.
Sort of like Semper Fi
Yes.
is the Marines, which means always faithful.
Yeah.
So I love that.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking, as far as the logo, I'm kind of like, what are we doing?
That's a little sketchy there. Why? Come on. Somebody who's on the design team knows what they did.
Okay, now the other thing I will say is, as far as our space abilities, we're really, at this point, we're really kind of just around the planet. I mean, we've sent probes out to other planets and we've gone to the moon and we've done things like that. But for the most part, like 99.9% of our stuff is just in Earth orbit.
Yeah.
And so if you are an astronomer, like an amateur astronomer, or why can't I say that word?
Yeah. Astronomer.
An amateur astronomer. You get a decent telescope, you put it in the backyard, you can look up. It's kind of hard to hide things in space.
Yeah.
Because you can just look up at it. So there's some classified things that are classified, but they're known, like because you can look up at it. But now what is everything that it's doing? I don't know. But I got a video for us here.
Okay.
What's the purpose of the Space Force's secret space plane? Spying is part of the business, right? The X-37 came to life in 1999 as a collaboration between NASA and Boeing. This shuttle-derived vehicle is about 1/4 the size of the STS orbiter or shuttle and is designed to operate autonomously. No people on board. Years after its introduction, the X-37 was split into two versions. X-37A for NASA and DARPA, and X-37B is for the Space Force. The project has been classified. Some suggest it was used to spy on the Chinese Tiangong-1 station, while others think it was designed to test sci-fi technologies like orbital lasers. According to the Space Force, X-37B has been used to test harnessing and transmitting solar energy to Earth and study prolonged space exposure on organic materials. Sure, and now you know.
Okay, so my point is they have this space plane. They've had it for a long time. They've definitely put it in orbit many times, and I think the longest time it was up there for like 2.5 years or something like that.
Yeah.
We know that, well, at least they claim there's no one on board because it's you can see people walk next to it. It's not that big when it's on the ground. We've never seen it on the ground with its doors open. It's like cargo bay doors open. Although there are plenty of like amateur astronomers who have taken photographs of it in space, and you can clearly see the doors open, and you can clearly see some objects hanging out of it.
Okay.
One of them is like what they showed in the video. It's like a big solar power panel. And the other one's like a cylinder thing.
Yeah.
I mean, what is that?
Yeah. So totally classified. So none of that information is coming out.
No, and people, will sit there and watch NASA, just sit on public land and just take pictures. And when the thing lands, we've noticed, or the space community has noticed, that the engine on the back of the thing has changed several times.
Okay.
So they think that they're testing special engines in space. For what reason? I don't know. Some people are saying, they're testing weapons. They've never said that.
Yeah.
Although the thing they were saying just a minute ago with harnessing solar power and then transmitting it down to the surface, that's not like wireless,
Yeah.
energy transfer. I mean, the only way I could think that you could do that, and maybe I'm wrong, maybe somebody can correct me in the comments, but you would collect the energy from a solar power panel, and then you would maybe use something like a laser to heat something up on the planet, and then you could use whatever you heated up on the planet to produce
Yeah. So,
electricity.
Right.
So therefore, you are transferring solar power from space down to the planet. But isn't that just a big laser weapon in the sky?
Yeah. Yeah. Essentially, yes.
I mean, it's like the Air Force coming out with a cargo plane, and they're just like, we're going to use it for disaster relief. And then later on they go, we also sometimes drops bombs from it. It's like,
Yeah.
okay, they're both true, but
Yeah.
let's not sugarcoat the other side of it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I have no idea what they're doing. I find the whole thing very interesting. I wish I knew more. I understand the need for secrecy. I think the logo is a little funny.
Yes.
George
I agree.
Sakai from Star Trek.
Yeah.
When he originally saw it, he goes, "I hope we're all getting royalties for this."
Yeah. Yeah. That's appropriate.
Yeah. So I don't know. Have you heard anything?
No, I'm sorry, I haven't. And like I said, I thought that Space Force was like a joke. I didn't realize it was a real organization that's actually
yeah.
doing things.
It's a real thing.
And I don't know. Now I have so many questions because like Space Force was, Trump's idea. Is that, or like, was it already kind of a,
I think it had been talked about before, but he is the one that approved it.
okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. Just interesting.
And I will tell you that, if you watch space launches, there are missions done by non-military personnel. Let's say like a lot of our stuff being lifted into space right now is being lifted there by SpaceX. So SpaceX will say, "Oh, well, we're doing a launch at this Space Force launch site, and." We can't tell you anything about the package, but we can show you the rocket going up. And they show it to you.
Yeah.
But if you watch them do commercial stuff, they'll show you them release the satellites into space. But when the rocket gets out of sight, they go, well, that's all we're going to be able to show you today because this is a classified mission from Space Force.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, huh.
Yeah. I don't know. Questions.
It's interesting though,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, sure is. Okay, so what I had was not so much science,
Okay.
but I guess I just wanted to get a little personal here for a minute. So that I am not much of a driver. I don't really like driving that much. I'm not much into cars, but that's whatever.
Right.
What about
we've
you?
already discussed the Dodge. What was it? Durango?
It was a journey.
A journey.
Yeah.
Whatever. It was crap.
Yeah,
is
it was.
what it was.
Yeah, it was a journey driving that thing. Okay. Well, what about you? Do you enjoy driving?
Yes. I thought we've nailed it down that I'm a car nerd.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Now, what about you? Still live in Chicago? So, did you drive when you were in Chicago, or did you like take Ubers or cabs?
It all depends on what I was doing. A lot of times when I was going to work, I would drive because I had monthly parking at work, and then I owned parking where I lived. So I would drive.
Okay.
Which it kind of stunk because it was only 4.5 miles away, and sometimes it would be like 30 to 45 minutes.
Oh yeah, yeah. So you got a lot of traffic.
There was a lot of time where I was just sitting in the car listening to
okay.
Sirius XM.
Yeah. Okay. So did you ever feel like road rage? Get into any road rage incidents in those times?
I mean, a little bit, yeah. I never like yelling or anything, but there was a couple times of just stomping on the gas and getting away from somebody.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, but I mean, obviously, nothing crazy violent.
Yeah, I didn't run anyone over.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
and I never got out of the car.
Yeah. Okay.
Although there was one time where I thought I was being followed, and I went 4 miles out of my way
Oh, yeah.
to not.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I'm not gonna pull in my driveway at this point. This guy has been behind me for the last mile.
Yeah. Yeah. And what about have you ever, because Chicago's a busy place,
Yeah.
so being so close to like home and work, were there ever any like things that like closed the road, so then you had to take like an extra 18 minutes to get home? Yeah, things like that.
Yeah, and you see some freaky stuff. I once saw a car flip over and burst into flames on Lakeshore
yeah.
Drive.
Yeah.
And I was 2 lanes away from it.
Oh wow. Yeah, that's
Yeah, it was pretty freaky.
damn. Okay. Well, I wanted to show you this video,
Okay.
and then we can continue talking about road rage and all that.
Okay.
They got it all blocked off. The Lloyd Center exit, the Convention Center exit, every motherfucking exit. You punk yeah.
Okay, I have seen this before.
Yeah,
this
yeah.
is a parade, isn't
Yeah,
it?
yeah, it's going like through a parade. Look at all these people. Like, some people trying to stop them. Some people are running away. And I don't know how long that went on for. I saw one where he got, there was a police officer or someone did stop him, but like, can you relate to that at all?
No. No, I would never go through a barrier or anything like that.
Yeah.
I mean, on Lakeshore Drive in Chicago, there's a lot of traffic, and sometimes just people just drive aggressively.
Yeah.
And that's what I was talking about.
Okay.
I wouldn't go down a parade route.
Yeah.
That guy deserves to be in jail.
Yeah, yeah.
Is he in jail?
I haven't checked on it. I hope so.
And why
Because-
would he post this video?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, you could see he has like a dash cam in the front and the back on his car.
Yeah.
And, I would think that for people who do that, you would think that you're always in the right. Or, I don't know, maybe not necessarily because you could just do it for your own safety, but not really to incriminate yourself.
Yeah, it just feels like, hey, look, I'm committing a crime, and now I'm
Yeah.
going to post it.
Yeah, yeah.
It sounds like the dumbest thing ever.
Yeah, and I'm not sure. Yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I don't know what the parade was for. Maybe he didn't agree with that.
I don't know. I don't know. I would have just drove around.
Yeah,
There's no way that there wasn't a way around.
yeah. But who knows? Maybe he was, just getting out of work and was tired of driving
That's
around.
no
So,
excuse.
yeah, I know. I'm not defending him.
But
So,
I saw a video the other day where, and I think this happened like a year ago, but a couple had pretended to stay in Target all night.
oh yeah,
Technically, they left in the middle of the night to go home, but then they arrived back at the store in the morning and then
What?
walked out like, oh, we just survived the whole night. So they recorded a little bit during the night.
oh
And there was security footage of them leaving, but then Target was like, well, nothing's missing, and some people must have been stuck in the store or something, but we saw them leave through a back door. We don't know who they are. Okay. They weren't happy about it, but it didn't seem like they were going to be able to solve this crime.
yeah.
And then these people post their video,
Oh, of them
and
staying
then
in that-
Target's like, there they are, go
Yeah.
arrest them. So they got
yeah,
arrested.
Yeah, because that's trespassing.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, that's not a smart prank or whatever.
Why
they-
would you post
adventure, whatever.
yourself committing a crime?
Yeah. So listen. People out there, I understand that life is busy and we got a lot of things going on. But there had been a huge influx in road rage incidents. Like that's not even the worst video. That's just one. I just felt like that guy he just lost his cool. He just went unhinged, for no reason because there was a parade blocking his exit, and he was just tired of it. But there's other things where somebody might pull out a gun, or people get out of the car, and it's just, man, it's not worth it. Like people just gotta. I know saying calm down doesn't help somebody with, anger issues or road rage, but
Yeah.
like you just got to think about it.
Yeah, I've definitely been in the car with some of my friends where they've done some things and then responding to other people doing some things.
Yeah.
And then the other person gets out of the car and comes to the window. And I'm like yelling at my friend, like, drive away.
Yeah.
Don't wait.
Yeah.
He's like, no, I'm just going to talk to him.
Yeah. It's,
Well, you don't know what they got.
yeah. Yeah. I mean, you don't know anything about that person. They could be totally
Mentally unstable.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So one of the things I wanted to talk about was we always hear how, this animal is smart or that animal is smart, like dolphins are smart. And I've heard people say things like, well, certain dog breeds can be the equivalent of like a 2-year-old.
Mm-hmm.
Or for a while there were, remember when it was mainly like in the 90s and the early 2000s, people were getting those like tiny pigs. What were they? You know what I'm talking about? They were like the little micro pigs, and they were like having them as pets.
Okay.
Or maybe it was like a potbelly pig
Oh.
or something.
Yeah.
Well, either way, they were supposed to be as smart as a 3-year-old, a human
Okay.
3-year-old.
Okay.
So my question is how smart are some of these animals?
Mm-hmm.
Because I've been around some pretty smart dogs who tend to figure out things very quickly.
Yeah.
And they try to communicate with you like, hey, follow me. And then they show you stuff like, hey, this is a problem. But they say like dolphins are like the equivalent of like a 7-year-old human being.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Yeah.
I've seen dolphins
Mm-hmm.
at the aquarium.
Yeah.
I've never interacted with them. I've never tried to like, I don't know,
Yeah.
play with them or talk to them or they just swim by.
Yeah.
But are they do they have problem solving
Yeah.
skills? Like if you were to give them like a thing,
Mm-hmm.
like some device or maybe mount some device where they had to push a certain sequence to get food, do you think they could remember a code?
Oh.
I mean, a 7-year-old, you can teach them like a 3-4 digit code.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, they're
Yeah.
going to be able to do that.
Right. Yeah.
So can you do that with a dolphin?
Yeah. Oh, maybe. Maybe. I don't know. Like, is that supposed to be impressive that a dolphin can be as smart as a 7-year-old? Is that like
I mean, that's pretty smart.
yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
But
right?
I don't know because I'm thinking about it, and I mean that's like, I don't know. I mean, I guess to us because like we have a larger brain and we have way more complex ideas and thoughts
Well, another thing
that we
is
know of.
elephants. They say elephants are as smart as dolphins.
Mm-hmm.
And elephants have been shown to do all kinds of things,
Yeah.
like just the way they interact with the human beings.
Mm-hmm.
There have been wild elephants that have came to like human areas
Mm-hmm.
and tried to get someone to follow them. And there's videos of this online. Like I saw one, this mother elephant comes to, it was like a town area and basically kept making noise and trying to like get people to come with it. Finally, people were like, let's go with it. And its baby was caught in this like, it was like a wired fence thing and just couldn't get it out. And the baby was crying and the
yeah.
people were like, we see what's going on now.
Nice.
Helped out the mother. And then the mother was like super grateful. I mean, I feel like generally when you hear about wild animals and especially when they're with the young, they just get like super defensive. Like,
Yeah.
don't come anywhere near me.
Right.
But this elephant knew enough to go, you know what? I bet you if I go get those humans over there, save my baby,
Yeah.
which is
Nice.
just feels smart.
Yeah. Yeah, it does. It does. Yeah, interesting. I saw a video where there was like, I don't know if it was just supposed to be like some type of security cam, but it was somewhere on a road where there was a traffic cone that was tipped over and there was a bear just kind of walking by and it flipped it back up, to be sitting upright. That's pretty smart.
Yeah, you know what? I saw that too. You know what? I think I saw that on Rogan.
Yeah.
Did you see that on
Yeah,
Rogan?
I think it was on Rogan.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, the other flip side of this is, we're talking about really smart animals, but I also looked up like what are the dumbest animals?
Yeah.
And one thing that's been going online recently is, you hear like gamers say this or other influencers.
Mm-hmm.
They'll talk about how maybe they don't like somebody or they see something they say that's really stupid, and they'll call them smooth-brained. Because
Yeah.
we know now that the wrinkles and folds in your gray matter in your head, that is the point where the neurons fire. Either way, having a smooth brain means that you're not going to have the same capabilities as if your brain was all wrinkly. And okay, so evidently, one of the animals with the smoothest brain is the koala. Evidently, it is dumb.
Yeah.
And something like 75% of them have chlamydia,
Oh, what the?
which they can transmit by their urine. And so like a ton of people will think, oh, that's so cute, I want to hold it and pet it.
Oh, then it pees on you?
Yeah, and then
Oh,
you're,
gross.
you're in trouble. I mean, it feels dumb and useless.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Ugh.
And dangerous to be around.
Yeah.
But some other ones were coming in at number 1 according to this list, and I
Yeah.
forgot where I got this list from. Ostrich.
Okay.
I mean, even when I was a kid, I remember like kids' cartoons making fun of ostrich.
Right.
Like, it's so dumb, it's going to stick its head in the ground. No, I don't really think that happens,
Yeah.
but that's pretty dumb.
Yeah.
Okay, number 2. This one caught me off guard a little bit. Flamingo.
Oh, okay.
And then number 3, and this is an animal that we've talked about that feels like it wants to go extinct. Evidently, is the panda bear.
Oh, yeah. That is your favorite.
What?
Yeah.
It's dumb too. I had no idea. They're so cute.
Yeah.
And then they sit there with their belly hanging out. And
Yeah,
they're just eating away.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I don't know how they made it this long, but yeah, pretty dumb.
I'll tell you, number 4 on the list is turkey. And there's a lot of wild turkeys around
Oh,
here.
yeah.
And I have seen some just really dumb stuff.
Yeah.
One time I saw turkeys crossing the street, and they kind of came out. And if you've seen them, they'll come out like in a line sometimes and cross the street. I jam on the brakes. I come to a stop maybe 10 feet away from them. Coming towards me is a big truck. It jams on the brakes, just smashes into one.
Oh, damn.
Probably going like 30 miles per hour because it just exploded. And the other turkeys in line, you think they'd run or
Oh, yeah.
or try to fly or whatever. Nope, they just kept
Oh.
walking like nothing happened. And I thought, are you kidding me?
Oh,
Your
man.
buddy just
Yeah.
exploded.
Yikes. They didn't even notice.
Because the guy, by the time he came to a stop, he was like right beside me and he rolled his window down like, and I'm like, dude,
Damn.
your front end is a little jacked up right now. Because those things are like
Yeah,
this.
yeah, they're pretty big.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Yeah, I've never hit one, but I do see them crossing around here sometimes.
I've never hit one either. I gotta imagine it's like hitting a bowling ball.
Yeah.
It's not gonna be good.
Yeah.
The other one that's on this list that I see all the time is the killdeer. Do you know what I'm talking about?
No.
It's a little bird, and they live on the ground. And I've got a dock out front, and they make their nests like underneath the dock all the time. And all I can think about is they're just super annoying.
Yeah.
Anytime anything's happening in the yard, they just sit there and they chirp and they chirp and they chirp and they chirp. I think to like say, get away from my nest.
Okay.
But all they end up doing is attracting predators because the predator's like, there's a killdeer over there.
Yeah.
They're really not known for flying. They hop around kind of at a decent speed. But it always seems like I see one. And then sometime during the summer, one of the raccoons or cats or whatever has got it. And I just think, if you're hiding underneath the deck or the dock,
Yeah.
if you would have just kept your mouth shut, nobody probably would have known you were there. You just gave it away.
Yeah. Yeah, damn. That's funny.
It's not good.
Well, thank you for watching. Leave us some comments down below. And don't forget to like and subscribe.